Africa is not our home.
The Indians were you in his own land. His own land.
Welcome to the Aboriginal Channel. On this episode, we're going to be looking at Oklahoma from the perspective of the ugliest Aboriginal truth. And at the end, I'll do a reading of the county information to get down to what tribes were in what counties in the state of Oklahoma. So we see where during the Civil War, there were battles in Oklahoma. Here I found an interesting article on the CivilWarAcademy.com website that is titled Civil War Battles in Oklahoma. I'm going to read just a little of this article just to give you an idea about what the battles were in Oklahoma during the Civil War. Here it says in 1861, operations in the Indian Territory in Oklahoma, the Creek and Seminole Indians were fighting the Indian Department of the Confederate States, led by Douglas H. Cooper. The Creek and Seminoles were led by a chief named Opo. It says Cooper, Confederate commander of the Indian Department. So Confederate military forces had an Indian department where they were fighting the Indians during the Civil War. It says Cooper had been able to reconcile differences with Chief Opo, who commanded a band of Unionist Creeks and Seminoles. Pause. So Creeks and Seminoles had been fighting the federal union or the federal government or the federal troops, and that's who the Union were. So that's a no-go right there. That's a lie. Creeks and Seminoles were never Unionists. It says Cooper set out in November of 1861 with about 1,400 men to either compel submission or drive him and his party from the country. His force rode up to the deep fork of the Canadian River towards Chief Opo's camp, which they found deserted. On the 19th, Cooper learned from captured prisoners that part of Chief Opo's band was at the Red Fork of Arkansas River where they were erecting a fort. Pause. So previously in other video when I was talking about this, I mentioned that Indians, when kicked out of their land, it went to Oklahoma and created big palisaded communities with defenses. And right here it just said that. So we just learned that these battles here in Oklahoma had nothing to do with the Civil War as far as slavery is concerned. It was Indian battle. So were the rest of these, but we'll get to that. Now we'll get into the county information. Adair came from the Cherokees. Alfalfa is Cherokee. Atoka is Choctaw. Beaver was no man's land. Beckham is Cheyenne Arapaho. Blaine, Cheyenne Arapaho. Bryan, Choctaw. Caddo is Caddo, Wichita. Canadian is Cheyenne Arapaho. Carter is Chickasaw. Cherokee is Cherokee. Choctaw County is Choctaw. Cimarron came from no man's land. Cleveland was named County 3. Cole is Cherokee. Comanche County came from the Comanche-Kiowa Apache Reservation or the Wichita-Caddo Reservation. Cotton came from Comanche. Craig, Cherokee. Creek, the Creek Indians. Custer came from Cheyenne and Arapaho. Delaware from the Cherokee Nation. Dewey from Cheyenne, Arapaho. Ellis came later on. Garfield, Cherokee. Garvin, Chickasaw. Grady County came from Chickasaw. Grant County came from the Cherokees. Greer and Harmon both came later to the state. Harper from the Cherokees. Asheville from Choctaw. Hughes from the Creek Indians. Jackson was part of Greer, which came later to the area. Jefferson, Chickasaw. Johnston, Chickasaw. Kay County, Cherokee Indians. Kingfisher County came from unassigned lands. Kiowa is from the Kiowa Comanche Apache Reservation or the Caddo Wichita Reservation. Latimer is Choctaw. LaFlore is Choctaw. Lincoln come from the Sac, Fox, Iowa, Pottawatomie, and Shawnee Reservation. Logan County came later on from the land run. Love from the Chickasaw. Major from Cherokee. Marshall from Chickasaw. Mays from Cherokee. McLean from the Chickasaw. McCurtain from the Choctaw. And McIntosh from the Creek Nation. Murray from the Chickasaw. Muskogee from the Creek Nation. Noble from the Cherokee. Nawata County from the Cherokee. Okfuskee County came from the Creek Nation, and Oklahoma came from later on in the land run. Okmulgee come from the Creek. Osage come from the Osage Indians. Ottawa County was split from the Cherokee, Modoc, Ottawa, Peoria, Quapaw, and Wyandotte Reservation. Pawnee from the Pawnee Indians. Payne from Cherokee Indians. Pittsburgh from Choctaw. Pontotoc from the Chickasaw. Pottawatomie County came from the Shawnee and the Pottawatomies. Pushmataha County came from the Choctaw. Roger Mills County came from the Cheyenne. Arapaho. Rogers from the Cherokee. Seminoles from the Seminoles. Sequoia from the Cherokee Nation. Stevens County come from the Chickasaw. Texas County came from no man's land. Tillman County come from the Kiowa and Comanche. Tulsa come from the Creek and Cherokees. Wagner County came from the Cherokees. Washington County came from the Cherokees. Wichita come from Cheyenne and Arapaho. Woods County come from Cherokee. Woodward County come from Cherokee. Through the history books, which has all been a lie. So therefore, if it's a lie, then what's the truth? If it's a lie, then what's the truth?